Off. Hold on. All right. Everything on my Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm Corrine Wright. I'm the accountant at Faith Accounting Consulting Services, also the owner. And I am just happy to be here. And today we're going to be talking about how to be like prepare for an audit. And I know everyone's here like, don't want to talk about the audit word, but we would have to talk about that because, you know, the audits happen. We do get audited. Um, and it tends to happen, more than often, and it's sometimes not by the IRS, sometimes it's not by the state. You can be audited for so many different things. So we just want to take the time out today and basically go over that, how to get ready for an audit and how to always be like always ready for an audit. Like you don't even have to even worry about it if you're always ready. That's how I've always been prepared in life. Always be ready, always be prepared. So, so facing audit, like I said, it can be a very daunting experience. Just hearing the word audit, it's just overwhelming for some people. But I'm just gonna definitely give you all the proper preparations that you're gonna need. You're gonna need like organized bookkeeping, and you can approach this with confidence. If you are even going through an audit right now, this is going to be very beneficial for you today. So today we're going to discuss the importance of accurate record keeping, the key steps to prepare for an audit, and the best practices to follow during the audit process. So let's begin by like understanding why accurate bookkeeping is crucial for audit preparation. As we all know, compliance and accuracy. So if you have accurate bookkeeping, it's going to ensure that your financial records comply with the legal and regulatory requirements. It helps avoid errors and all discrepancies that could trigger red flags during an audit. Like I said, when you started your company and you started your business, I've always mentioned in pretty much all my lives, and what I always tell my clients, you did not come into this business to do book accounting or bookkeeping or anything like that. So when we go to school, and even if you went to school for business, we have to take something called Accounting Principles 1 and 2 and stuff like that. And we are also taught that there are general practices that we have to go by, that it's like a regulatory thing in the United States. So this is also what a lot of, if you are being audited by most of these, most different companies like agencies, state agencies, or insurance companies, or even federal IRS or the state agents, tax department, they're going to use these two as well as a guideline. So you're always going to want to make sure you're using the basic guidelines as well. It's called GAAP, which is general accounting, and general is GAAP, so general accounting processes and procedures. So you're going to want to make sure you're kind of going in that same element. And it's not as hard as it is. When we were in school, it was very difficult, extremely hard test to pass. But if it's implemented from day one, it's kind of easy to maintain throughout the time period of your business. The next thing you're going to want to do is documentation. You're going to make sure you organize and have well-maintained records to provide like clear documentation of all your financial activities. So this is going to make it easier to substantiate your financial statements and to respond to auditors' inquiries. So when an auditor asks you for certain things, you're going to be able to respond quickly. Most of the time when the audit, the reason why it takes so long for audits to close out is because it takes longer for you, the business owner, to respond and get information back and forth to the auditors. If you were dealing with an auditor and you're able to say, bang, here's whatever you need, this is whatever, your audit could be done within an hour or a day or two. And that's kind of what we do for our clients. Like our workers' compensation audits are usually easy. It's easily done. Like we know every year they're going to ask usually for the same things, and we already have a folder set up for most of our clients with the things that they're going to ask, and then they can just hand that right over and submit it electronically to the auditor, and the auditor doesn't step into their office. The auditor can just be submitted electronically. The auditor will send whatever they need for the workers' compensation. They either determine if they get a refund for workers' comp or if they're going to have to pay more. But it it wasn't overwhelming and it didn't take forever. It was easy because throughout the year, we already prepared for that audit to happen. And another thing would be peace of mind. So knowing that your books are in order gives you that peace of mind and like reduces the stress when you're facing an audit. It also like enhances your credibility and trustworthiness with auditors and all your stakeholders. Like you want your auditors to understand that they can trust you. When you tell them, like, let's talk about workers' compensation. Like I have this many contractors and I make this amount of money, and you say that and it proves it in your audit, they're going to trust you. Like if you come back to them and you have to have them open up another whatever, if you start another business and you need another, like, I don't know, another type of workers' comp, they're going to trust you with another policy. So that's what you want to do. You want to always be able to be trustworthy with your books and your records, create that reputation, you know? So the next thing I want to do is like go through some like key steps to prepare for an audit. So you definitely want to, like I always say, review your financial records. You want to conduct like a thorough review of your financial records. Like that includes your income statements, that's your profit and loss. That's where you're going to see your expenses and your revenue and your income on one report. Then you're going to have your balance sheets. That's where you're going to see everything, like a snapshot of what your bank statements look like, your bank accounts look like, your credit cards and your loans. That's going to be on that report. Then you're going to have your cash flow statement. That's showing the ins and outs, how the money is flowing through the business. And then you're also going to ensure that all your transactions are accurately recorded and categorized. That moves me next to reconciling your accounts. So you want to reconcile your bank accounts, your credit card statements, and other financial accounts. So you want to make sure that those records match the statements provided by the financial institutions. So if your financial institution says you had $100 on March 31st, you want to make sure you have $100 March 31st in your accounting software as well. So that's the whole reason of reconciling. You want to make sure it matches what the institution is stating that you have. And it also helps with any errors as well. Like if you're doing your books and anything like that, and so for instance, if you have like a payroll account and it shouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. You're paying 3 people and you see that you're paying 4 people, you're now noticing that there could be some potential fraud going on in your bank account. So that alert helps you with that. Okay. Next thing is organizing your documentation. So like if you gather and organize audit supporting documentation for all the transactions, that includes like your receipts, your invoices, and your contracts. And then the thing is, you want to create like a systematic filing system. This could be like digital, it could be physical. So it can make this like an easier process to retrieve any documents during the audit. You want to make it simple as possible. Like if they say, I need the invoice that you sent to Google or whatever, for whatever job you're working on, you can go pull that invoice right away. And it wouldn't have to go recreate something or contact Google or look for it in phone or whatever. You already know where it is and you already have that system in place. That's going to help with that. The next thing would be number 4 would be verify compliance. So you want to check that your financial records comply with relevant accounting standards and all tax regulations. So you also want to correct any discrepancies or errors before the audit begins. So this is what you're going to be doing before the audit. You don't want them to find errors. The whole thing is you find errors before they do, because they find some errors. That's even worse, right? The next thing would be conduct internal audits. So you're going to want to perform internal audits or reviews periodically to identify and address potential issues. So this proactive approach helps in maintaining the accurate records and preparing for external audits. So the way we do our internal audits, if you already had an audit before that, it's even great because you can use the same things that they were asking you for in discovery for your internal audit. You can reuse that same thing, the same information to help you do your internal audits throughout the year. The next thing would be, of course, engage in some help. Get some help out there. If you don't know what you're doing, hire someone to help you. Get a professional. So you want to consider consulting with a professional accountant or auditor to review your records and provide guidance on audit preparation. Yes, you can hire another auditor to help you with an audit. It's not like they're going to say no. There's a few auditors that would try to do it on the side that would let me help you get where you need. For instance, in the IRS, there's a lot of IRS agents that were auditors that are actually retired that would help you prepare for an IRS audit. So you want to look for people like that as well. So like these expertise can help you identify any areas that need improvement before the audit. So these are things that you want to think about. If you're very, very like nervous and scared, always, engage in some help. Like Google's right there. Facebook, whatever it is, ask someone, talk to somebody in your industry and see what they did. If they were in the same predicament, find out what they did and who they hired. You can always come here, of course, like I always say, and ask us if you have any questions about that. But yeah, if you do have any questions, I'd love to hear if you have questions about preparing for an audit, or if you have any bookkeeping tips, you can definitely put it in the comment, and I'll definitely love to like respond. I would like this to be interactive. I do like looking at myself, but I do like talking to you guys as well and everything. It's great. But do we have any questions? I do see some questions, so let me take a look at these questions. Hold on. Oh, so I have one question. What should I do if I find discrepancies in my financial records before an audit? Ooh, good question. If you find any discrepancies like in your financial records, you want to address them immediately. So you're going to review the transaction to identify like the source of the error, and you're going to make all the necessary corrections and ensure that the supported documentation is accurate. So it's like I said, it's better to correct the errors, the issues before the audit than to leave them in unresolved and then learn from the auditor. And then now the auditor is looking at you sideways and crazy. Like, okay, if this is one error, I'm going to have to go deeper. And they're going to have to now take their sample and make the sample bigger. And you don't want that, because if it was just one little thing, now they're making it bigger than it really is or whatever. But you want to fix it there and then. Fix it as soon as you see the error. And don't be discouraged if you do find an error in your system, like when you're working on something. Like if it's something that if things happen when you're working on financial records, things do happen. Fraud should not happen at all in your company, but like if there's like errors, like I'm saying, maybe you missed a whole month of accounting transactions because things happen, your accounting system was not linking properly, and then now you're doing the bank reconciliation and you realize something was missing. Fix it, but just understand it happens. Like you're human. Things, give yourself some grace, but get it done and fixed before the audit happens. Okay. Yeah, that was a great question. How often? I have one more other question. How often should I conduct internal audits to stay prepared for an external audit? I would say the best thing to do, you don't want to overdo it. So I would say you want to conduct internal audits quarterly. It would be like a good practice. So regular internal reviews will help you like identify and rectify issues early, and also help like maintain accurate records and ensure compliance. So this proactive approach makes external audits like a lot more easier and less stressful when you do it this way. And then also you want to make sure if you are getting audited to just also know their audit dates, because certain audit dates are different depending on who you're being audited by. Because for instance, most of our insurances, like workers' comp, like NYSIF, New York State Insurance Fund, they don't audit based on the calendar year. They audit based on like when you start your policy. So you want to also know that as well, and then kind of start your quarterly based on that as well. So by the time you get to the last 3 months of that quarter, it's going to be accurate for their audit. So that's one thing I wanted to just point out right there. I think I have one more. I think I have time for one more question. Whew. Okay, what are the most common mistakes business make during an audit? First of all, having an audit done at your place of business is a big no-no. I would tell my clients, don't have them come to you, because they start looking, especially the IRS. The IRS, they come in to look for certain things. That's one of the things I always say. If you have an account, that's when you want to hire the professional to see if the professional allow the audit to happen at their office. That's a good thing to do. That's what we also offer our clients. Is like, listen, if they want to audit you, tell them to come here. I have clients all over the country, and their auditors will have to come all the way to New York to have an audit done. But that's one of the things. Let's see what else would be a big no. What's some others? Hold on. How about, does anybody else have any on the socials that they think would be like a big mistake that could be made during an audit? I just say stressing. Stressing over this audit is like one of the biggest mistakes you can make. That's one of them. But it's like, all I say is not definitely making sure your records are in order. If you don't have records in order and you schedule an audit, you're down to doing you're gonna, I'm sorry, it's gonna not work out in your favor if you don't have your stuff together. That's number one. But just always just be prepared. Have your stuff ready to go and ready to have your stuff out there ready. Like, have it all together, ready for it to like shine. You want to shine bright like a diamond on that audit. Like, but don't stress out and everything. But like I said, those are like most of the common mistakes. Like it's like disorganized documentation. Make sure your documentations are organized. Make sure all your accounts are reconciled. Like I said, always be prepared. If you're not prepared, always ask for an extension. Like, can I have this audit moved for another date? Like, you do not want them to come and then you guys are searching for papers in front of them. Like, you don't want to do that there. You want to just make sure, like, I'm not ready. I need more time or whatever. And stay updated with all your regulatory changes. Businesses often neglect to stay updated with the changes, and that's another problem. So before that audit, and make sure you have everything up to date based on any changes that were made. Just make sure whatever the audit is, make sure you have up all the changes that need to be done already up to date for that. And like I always say, maintain the records. Perform your regular reconciliations and stay informed and relevant. That's all you really need to focus on. And you won't make any mistakes during your audit. Like, just have your records in order, documents organized, and just have it sitting there waiting for them. Or send it to them in email. Say, don't come to my office. I'll send it to you and everything will be great. Give me 2 to 3 days, and you set the boundaries. Set boundaries with your auditors too. Give me 2 to 3 days to respond to you. I'm in the middle of such and such time, and just always communicate with your auditors. Don't hide from them. Speak to them. They are humans, so always make sure you communicate with them about what's going on. Don't sit there and just try to think about. Just don't think it's the audit. But it's just pretty much you already have the information there. Every day you're working, the information they have, it's been cultivating throughout the past few years. The only problem you would ever have for an audit is if you're lying. And if you're lying, that's when you should be concerned and worried. But outside of that, you're okay. Like, if you're doing legit business, you're running a business okay, don't be worried about your audit. You are okay. You're in good hands. If you don't have your accounting system in place and you know an audit is coming up, then set it up and get it together. Start putting these things in place and then have your audit done. Tell them, I don't have my accounting system ready. Let me get this stuff for you, and then give me, how long do I have to get this to you? Because I don't have, be very honest, I do not have my financial records organized. I don't have QuickBooks. I don't have this, that, and third. And then they might say, okay, if you don't have it, just give me your bank statements. Don't give them your bank statements, though. If they didn't ask your bank statements, do not give them your bank statements. Because now, especially if it's the IRS or the state, now you're giving them a lot more information than you want to. But always say, I don't have this, but I would love you to give me the opportunity and the time to do what I have to do. And just always say, I know it's my fault. I should have had it done. Life happens. Try to just humanize yourself as much as you can when it comes down to the audits, and you should be good. But thank you guys so much for coming on my live. It was wonderful seeing everyone on here. It's great to be back in my office. I feel like I'm just home. My office is my room. So I'm so excited to be back. I'm happy to be back in New York. I do miss my Southern family. I miss you guys. and I can't wait to come back down south. But it's been great. So thank you all for joining. So remember, be proactive in preparation and have all your accurate record keeping. And that will be like the total key to a smooth audit process. So, but stay tuned for our next live stream next week. And until then, like, keep your books in order and stay audit ready. Have a good one. Bye. Bye, guys. The doop.